Open wide cabinet of curiosities to reveal an Irish heartthrob whose new album's a heartbreaker, the CIA spies who married each other, the twin who's completing her late sister's bucket list, and a man with more magazines than a logorrheic dentist's waiting room. It's a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Live, where Ronan Keating, ladies and gentlemen, is here with a new album and a new outlook on life.
Husband and wife Jason and Suzanne Matthews reveal how the couple that spies together thrives together.
Melissa Tenant recalls her late twin sister Nicole, whose unfinished bucket list is unfinished no longer.
And we meet James Hyman, who has the largest collection of magazines in the world, from smash hits to the New Yorker.
All these plus JP Devlin gets entangled in a case of mistaken identity, and Phil Tufnell lashes out wildly with his inheritance tracks. But first...
So welcome to our guests then, to Ronan Keating, to James Hyman, to Melissa Tenant, and to Jason and Suzanne Matthews. Morning to you all. Now, James,
Morning.
we mentioned you've got this huge collection of magazines, world record-breaking collection of magazines. Why did you start?
It was very relevant to what I was doing at the time. One of my first jobs was a scriptwriter for MTV Europe in the late 80s and early 90s. I had to write stuff for the presenters to talk about. You know, videos would be repeated again and again, Prince, Madonna, Boyzone, whatever. And you'd have to keep writing interesting stuff. There was no internet. People forget there was no internet. So what was your great source of information? Magazines. So I collected them, kept them, and always used them throughout my career for research, information. It was a good source of knowledge.
And how many are you up to now?
Up to about 75,000.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, it's a number, but let me tell you, if you actually see it physically in the flesh, it really gives you that moment. I could say to you 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. It's seeing it really is the wow moment.
What does it look like?
A lot of magazines stretched out. It's, you know, like that scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark right at the end where they're wheeling in yet another, whatever it is, artifact.
Who else collects stuff? Ronan?
I guess since I was 17, watches were, always interested me.
How many have you got?
I've about dropped to zeros, about 75, from the magazine collection to
That's
mine.
quite a lot.
Yeah, no,
70.
it's a lot. It's too many, really. I've only got 2 wrists, but still, you only wear one a day.
But today we'd like to hear about your unusual collections. What have you collected and why have you done so, and how much space does it take up or whatever? Let us know this morning. I am collecting your stories this morning, so do get in touch with us. It's saturdaylive@bbc.co.uk is our email, and do leave your telephone number. Text 84844, and if you're on Twitter, #BBC Saturday Live.
Now, it seems a long time ago, the 80s and indeed the 90s, or it did until Ronan took us back there. But not least because it was such a buoyant period in magazine publishing, especially in popular culture. From smash hits and Look In to The Face and Blitz, all tastes were catered for in glossy abundance, and they caught the eye of James Hyman, who passed on a place to read Latin at Manchester and joined MTV instead. Nearly 30 years later, he's acquired the biggest collection of magazines in the world, popular culture in print, from 1910 to the present, and is now digitising his 75,000 items, so you can, at the press of a button, discover who was manhandling a rooster on the cover of Record Mirror in May 1987. Does that jog any memories, James?
Was it you?
It wasn't, no, God,
sure?
I loved it. Yeah, no, we never got a cover of anything, I don't think. We were very much inside pages. But May 1987, manhandling a rooster.
Manhandling a rooster, 87. Bob Geldof's just come into my head. You said not to libel. I hope that's not libel, is it? Bob Geldof?
Not yet. Yeah, let's reverse out of that one. No,
Okay.
it wasn't. Waddle and Hoddle.
Waddle and Hoddle.
I suppose it was the
Diamond
Spurs
Lights.
connection. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember their Top of the Pops performance.
Well, who could forget those mullets?
Indeed.
Yeah. What was the first thing that caught your eye?
In magazines?
Yeah.
Hard to remember. I mean, maybe smash hits. Frankie Goes to Hollywood on an 83 smash hits. But a pivotal sort of turning point was, as when I was a scriptwriter for MTV, as I say, writing stuff to fill the airwaves, it was meeting someone, getting a whole load of Q magazines, like the full set up to then. And you just thought, this is fantastic. This is an amazing amount of knowledge. Here I've got, 10 years of Q, got the whole lot. Actually, it wouldn't have been 10 because it was only been going to about 86. Whatever, it was a bulky amount of Q magazine.
A chunk of Q.
A chunk of Q. That was a good moment. Or Rolling Stones. Fine. Actually, I'll tell you the turning point. Walking with 2 guys who went on actually to do very well in video games, and one of them pointed out a shop in Soho called Vinmag. In the window was this kind of Face magazine with Electro on it in stark red letters.
Oh, I remember that
with a
cover.
yellow background about electro music. And they said, look, you don't want to go downstairs in there. I did, and it was like just magazine heaven, but I hadn't really experienced the back issues. So seeing all these, prints on the cover of Rolling Stone and all the, whatever Star Wars covers, and you're just thinking, fantastic.
And it's timing everything. You kind of enter that market at a time when it is possible to be a completist, when you think, well, I could actually get every Q ever published or every
You can be a
Smash
completist in certain areas. I will never have every popular culture magazine printed. I don't want to be a completist. I don't think it's, I don't want that perfection. I used to get quite anxious going away on holiday, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to miss a issue of Smash Hits, whatever. And driving my newsagent mad to keep everything. It doesn't matter. I think you can never be a completist in as a collector, unless you have something so niche.
But it also means that you will always have holes in your collection.
Always.
So you will always have an eye out for that missing, the one that got away.
Indeed, and we got an amazing amount of people donating. As a result of some exposure, we've had people are just literally saying they see it now as magazine heaven, my archive. So a nice final resting place for their collections. Never, and the gaps get filled as and when. I don't get as stressed anymore.
What's your biggest gap?
Biggest gap,
or your most the gap that most needs to be filled?
I'd like the full set of Playboy. Missing a few of those. It's not as bad as you think, that magazine.
You must be able to get that.
Easy, yeah, but again, I'm just too busy with so much stuff going on. It's not a priority to say, right, I need those 4 50s issues of Playboy. They would be nice to have a full set of Playboy.
Did you used to keep the magazines in your house?
I just have to say, my wife, I did everywhere. Floorboards.
Did you have a big house?
I lived with my parents for a long time, and they put up with it. Best friends, whatever, cracks in the ceilings. My wife, literally sleeping on magazines until we had 2 kids. Rooms and rooms, just literally towers of magazines.
Could you not have done subscriptions?
Did subscriptions, still do subscriptions.
Easier way of getting it, I'm sure.
It is. But a lot of magazines weren't on subscription. American magazines you couldn't get sent to the UK.
Oh, right. And because you never know, do you, which magazine? I mean, a magazine like ID or a magazine like Blitz, you never know how that's going to. You never know which ones are going to be the ones that are considered important, because you need a bit of history to pass.
This is true.
You've got someone in front of you.
I have. Shall I reveal a very special one?
Oh my God!
Right, describe it to us.
Okay, so this is Smash Hit, 7th of 20th December '94. Boys Own, the 6 days that made them famous. There you go. Let me take it out for you.
Look at that! Wow. I wish we were on TV now and people at home could see this. This is, so Boys on the cover of Smash. This was our cover.
It's a fantastic advert for Power Rangers on the back.
I know, yeah. But we look like Power Rangers on the front with the same colour shirts.
But it meant a lot to you, right, when that came out?
This is the pop Bible, for us when we started, and our goal was to be on the cover of Smash Hits. That was Boys Own's goal. So for us to get this was just massive.
We'll tweet the picture, I think.
But
this is perfect as well. Look at it. I mean, it's absolutely perfect.
Keep magazines in mint condition.
But Ronan, you look about 5 years old.
I was. I was 5 years old.
5 plus 10.
I've got to sit and read this, man.
So
you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, while you read that, I thought, because for our lovely CIA guests, Suzanne and Jason, this is a bizarre one called Interrogation, the CIA Secret Manual on Coercive Questioning. So how do you feel that went public?
That's very good. I think I read that.
You read it?
No.
Interrogation magazine.
Interrogation. I don't know how many issues of that came out. I certainly have only one. This I love. This is one of my favourites, 2600. It's a fantastic magazine about hacking, surveillance, counterculture. Their first issue came out in January 84, and they had the bravery to sort of print every number, the direct lines of everyone in the White House. If you look here, Office of the Vice President, George Bush.
We probably won't be putting that on the website.
No. Exactly, extension 712. But you say that. This is arguably public domain information.
Yeah, sure.
What else have you got? What other magazines have you got?
Do you know that magazine, 2600?
No.
Really? I mean, you know.
Do you collect foreign magazines at all?
Foreign as well. Mainly English language, but, pop culture is universal and global, so Japan.
You talk about public access. Of course, now you're going to digitise your collection.
Yes.
What a huge job that's going to be.
It's a big job. Amazing team of people ready to do that. We need a license. There is a license. A bit of legislation was passed that allows you to do that. That is my dream and vision, the fact that anyone around the world can access this stuff. But when it is digitised, what's so amazing is the power, the tools and analytics that could come of it. How does Boyzone connect to One Direction or the CIA? Finding connections,
Boyzone to the CIA is the connection.
There may be a connection.
Maybe we were.
By digitising your that's
fancy watch, Ronan.
Exactly. James Bond.
And also just look at, I think just fascinating. All I want to do is read that Smash Hits, because it's just fascinating to see. It is, in a way, it's like listening to music. It's the soundtrack of your life. This is the backdrop to your life, isn't it?
Well, this is it. Again, before the internet, magazines were your internet, and they are a very powerful form of remembering what you were doing, what was going on, and to me, just like I've got a huge record collection as well, about 30,000 records and CDs. But it's that thing of you pick up one of those objects, or I flick through these NMEs and read what was going on. The internet was not around, so they would write pages and pages on whatever, Bob Dylan, Pet Shop Boys, whoever, and takes you back.
But it's funny. I'm just flicking through that magazine there, James. It's really interesting. The internet does not give you that satisfaction. Yeah. Right,
absolutely.
I just got there from just flicking through that magazine.
And I will say the other thing, that magazine. Okay, what is that? That's 20. How old is that? 21 years, 22 years old. 22 years old. You can't get. I just checked the other day. I couldn't find that on the internet. You could find the image of the cover. You couldn't physically get this magazine on eBay anywhere. It's this stuff goes. It's rare. Another reason why I want it all digitized.
Can I say two things? Number one, Ronan, that doesn't even look like you.
Amazing. It does.
Are you sure that's you? It doesn't even look like you. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
How old were you there?
17.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that I'm going to tweet a picture of it, and it'll be under the hashtag BBC Saturday Live, because it is a sight to behold.
It is a picture. James, can I ask, when you say you're digitizing it, is it literally sitting down with a scanner, scanning page after page?
Thankfully not me personally, but that is what it is. I mean, a professional company is going to basically scan every page. The key is, again, as I say, the tagging. So if you see a picture of, for example, I don't know, you'd have to all be tagged, or Bowie's red boots. You've got to know it's Bowie. Who's the photographer? Where was it taken? That gives you that rich information, so people can find stuff.
But listen, you're a post-internet generation, aren't you? Do you have a look at magazines like this, or is it something for you? Is all that stuff online for you?
Pretty much. Like, I still read a magazine if I'm travelling. That seems to be the only time.
What do you
read? I like fashion magazines, so Grazia.
That's all right. Doesn't say just such a small voice.
They all have their place.
Yes.
That's the other thing, Bobby. You go to a great newsagent, like in Wardour Street. There's a place called Wardour News. It is
Soho in London.
Soho in London, heaving with magazines. I mean, people, this print is dead. Definitely not. Magazines are pouring out. People are passionately producing magazines. Very good looking, expensive
But
ones
I notice
too.
on the train in the morning, I'm one of the few people who now reads a newspaper.
True.
More and more people are on their tablets now.
This is true.
Dinosaur, that's me. Anyway, we're going to look out for that. I can't wait to have the whole of Smash Hits digitized.
Oh, it's so good.
That's going to be such a
I honestly, that was very. That was very
Taking
cool.
you back,
yeah,
hasn't
really,
it? It really has.
Great.
Proustian moments all over the studio. James Hyman, for the moment, thanks very much.
This is Saturday Live with Richard Coles and Aasmah Mir. With us this morning, singer-songwriter Ronan Keating, the man with the largest collection of magazines in the world, James Hyman, Melissa Tenant, who's working her way through her late sister's bucket list, and former spy couple Jason and Suzanne Matthews. Now, I've got an email here from, who's it from? Doreen. I've listened to your guest this morning talking about his incredibly large collection of magazines. I have over 400 Hello magazines, starting at issue number 1, which I no longer wish to keep, but I am loath to throw away.
Please. Just go to hymanarchive.com. We would welcome and embrace them. Because also when we come to digitise, even if we have the duplicate copies, it's cheaper and quicker, dare I say it, to shred a magazine and feed them. We've got a lot of hellos. We want to keep one of everything physical.
Yeah.
But so please, if that's not too much to ask, we will arrange pick-up of them.
Again, Hyman?
hymanarchive.com, HYMAN archive.com.
But do you think that... we'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
But do you think that means that the hard copy is going to kind of become... really rather a remote prospect? With digitisation, it's going to have a second life in digital form, and that's where people are going to go.
It will be the second life. My archivist, Toy Turk, who's done an amazing job of cataloguing, indexing it, everything, would argue the importance of that physical artefact. Very important. Look at the Magna Carta, how people go and see all that, that physical object.
Yeah.
So, as important to me as the digital.
We have that great exhibition at the British Museum at the moment with Codex Sinaiticus, which is the 4th century Bible manuscript, the oldest, fullest one in existence. And you can go in and actually see it, and there's something about it. It's a very powerful object.
Physical.
Yeah.
This email just quickly from Lynn on the subject of collecting. My older sister collected every issue of The Story of Pop in the 1970s. I'm not familiar with The Story of Pop. Yeah. They filled 2 Story of Pop binders, and I still have them. I used to love rereading them as a child, and learned a lot about pop history from them. I also used to love reading encyclopedias for fun as a kid. You're not the only one.
Oh, don't.
Yeah.
Looking at me.
No, no. But you must have.
Of course I did.
Yeah. Come on, we did, didn't we? I mean, might not have understood anything that was in it, but you did read encyclopedias back then.
Well, here's a good
not
one.
Anymore.
This is an unsigned text. It says, magazine collections. My husband had a collection of nearly every Look and Learn magazine. Some of us will remember that. His granddad and later his uncle bought it for him every week, and he loved it because he couldn't read easily. Later found out he was dyslexic, and the pictures helped him enormously.
I have to say one thing, actually. All the people who are donating to us, there's some fantastic stories behind them. The people who a lady last week came down and delivered 60 years of Athletics Weekly in a camper van, and her husband had sadly passed away fit. But the stories behind these people and their collections, why they collected those magazines, because magazines, again, they mean a lot to people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they're just such a kind of accurate, faithful social document because they're timely, aren't they?
Yeah.
They kind of follow people's lives in real time, pretty much.
Indeed. And the other thing, again, there's a lot of truth in that stuff. In that, again, just because something's on the internet, you think it's true. Magazines really give you that truth. A lot of people are creating their own history. Brands do that. They say something is a fact. Go back in the magazine. That will give you the truth.
Truth, illusion, creating your own history. Keep those thoughts.
Tell us about your collection then, Jan. You describe yourself as a member of this group called Sucrologists. Tell us about that.
Yeah, there's a UK Sucrologist Society or club, and they produce a magazine called Sweet Thoughts. It's not a very big club, I hasten to say. There's only a few hundred people in it.
I must ask James if he's got that magazine in his collection.
I don't, but I'd welcome it. I'd welcome it.
And thank you to you, JP, and thank you to everyone who's emailed and texted in. This is from Enid in Leicestershire. I had every issue of the Beatles monthly magazine from issue number 1. I left home aged 20 and went walkabout, returning intermittently over the years. I then discovered that my mother or brother had to tidy up, and I think that is when they disappeared. Somehow one issue survived and is now in my treasure chest. Thank you to everyone: Ronan Keating, James Hyman, Melissa Tennant, Phil Tufnell, Suzanne and Jason Matthews, and to you for listening. We're back next week with the actor Jamie Foreman. Until then, from all of us, goodbye.